Morning. Are you coming in then?
Good morning, and what a show we've got lined up for you today. Today's going to be a good one. It's packed, trust me, because first of all, we've got TV legend Carol Vorderman will be here. She's making her first ever appearance to the house and the kitchen as she drops by a little bit later. And singing superstar Joss Stone will be here for the first time. She'll be getting stuck into a rum and raisin sticky toffee pudding. Chef Judy Jew will be here for the first time as well. She's serving up kimchi pancakes and makes a Saturday morning debut a little bit later. And I'll be teaching you everything you want to know about this week's little masterclass of cooking steak. And that's not all, because I'm joined by a good mate of the show whose name has been in the kitchens of some of the London's greatest restaurants. And, of course, on the set of Cooking with the Stars, it's the brilliant Ronnie Murray. Ching, ching, ching.
Hello,
Pal,
mate.
good to see you.
And you.
Now, every time you come on here, you create a little media storm. A social media storm. The first thing you came on with, I remember this, was this apple pie, which I've never tasted apple pie since or before like it. It's amazing. Then you came on and did this damn omelette thing with whatever it was, fried, and it was with chopsticks. It was amazing. What are you doing now?
So to keep the theme, I thought I'd do something interesting with pumpkin. So
Right.
seasonal, right time of year. You know me, I like a bit of seasonal.
You're not chucking it in soup like I am.
I was going to do a gag about only ever doing soup with it, but I know you're doing soup later, so soup's lovely. But we're going to soup's great, but I'm going to do something a little bit different to use up those Halloween pumpkins.
Sounds pretty good as well. But we're kicking things off today by making a classic lobster thermidor. Now, lobster is supplied by an incredible woman, which I'm going to introduce you a little bit later. But we've got amazing seafood in this country. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. We've got some crabs, we've got some shrimp. Now, I wouldn't often do this sort of stuff, but when we have got produce like this, and particularly people who go out and catch this sort of produce, you've got to we've got to celebrate this amazing produce from this country as well. So I'm going to do a classic little lobster thermidor. So the first thing I've got on here is a little stock reduction. So you can do this with fish stock, you can do it with chicken stock, and I've reduced this down to intensify the flavour. In we go with a little bit of brandy, touch of brandy, and then we're going to take a touch of cream, a little bit of mustard, and then I'm going to thicken it with some egg yolks. And that is your nice little bit of thermidor bit. Really done, isn't it? The essence of it is nice and simple, don't you think?
Yeah.
Really, touch of mustard with it as well. I'm going to do a nice little dressing with that as well. But we're going to turn our attention now. So that's a little bit of Dijon mustard gone in there. But we've got a beautiful bit of lobster over here. It's a large one or a small one? Or
Large.
I thought you might that one. Large one. So we've got a beautiful bit of lobster over here. I'm just going to show you how to break this all down before I introduce you where it came from. But the claws are quite fascinating. You have like a knife and fork on a lobster.
Yeah.
And you have the large one or the small one. So the big one's tons of muscle meat in here. But you break it down into three. So you snap that bit off there. And then this gets broken down into three again. And you almost break it the opposite way round, don't you, really?
You go against the...
So you go against the joint, really. That breaks it all down. And then we're going to crack this. The lobster itself, nature's been amazing. It's created a little line on the top. So we follow that line. We're cutting it all the way down either side. And that, I'm going to open it all out, take the meat, put it back in with the sauce, everything else. Jumpers are good. But we're going to find out where these amazing lobsters come from. Now, this is the special thing about when we're doing this show, there's things that surprise me and constantly surprise me about doing this. So I was flicking around on the phone the other day and I sort of popped up on Instagram and this amazing lady, she was fishing for these amazing lobsters and bits and pieces and telling the story, and I thought, I'm going to watch this. I'm going to watch this. And I thought, we've got to get this lady on the show. So we've now had it. We've found her. She's from Norfolk. We're going to speak to Ashley Mullinger, a.k.a. the female fisherman. Welcome to the show, Ashley. Good to see you.
Good morning, James.
Now, your story is absolutely fascinating. It gripped me as well, but you've been doing this quite a while. But tell me how it all started then, because you weren't doing this. This is, unlike most people in the industry, this is not generational. This was something, it's an amazing little story. So you were doing something completely different.
Yeah, this was never the plan. I don't really know what the plan was. I was working in an office doing sort of logistics management and really good friends with the people I worked with. And one day said, does anyone fancy doing something different at the weekend? Let's go sea fishing.
Yeah.
So booked a little trip, went out with all my colleagues, and just being out there, it was like this, I say it's like a light bulb moment. It was just really loving being in the environment and feeling like that was somewhere I needed to be. And I kept going back. I kept booking trips on this charter boat with the skipper, Nige.
Yeah.
And it got to the point he was like, don't book up and pay for trips anymore. Just come out when you want, when you can make it. So I did. And then his son, who was crewing for him, left him to go and work on one of the commercial crab boats. And he said, do you want to crew for me this summer? And I said, I can't do that. I've got work. I've got a job.
Love it.
So I went to my bosses and I said, all right, I need the summer off. I have to take 3 months off. And they were like, you can't do that. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to quit then. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what kind of a diva I thought I was.
Right.
But eventually they agreed and had the best summer, had the best tan. All my pasty desk-bound colleagues were very, very jealous. And then eventually he sold his charter boat and we always stayed really good friends. He went and worked on another couple of the commercial boats in Wells and eventually he bought his own boat. And he said, do you want to come back and work for me? I said, I don't know. I don't think I can do that. I'm a girl. I'm not strong enough. I'm a bit clumsy. I'm a bit ditzy. And he said, look, you're miserable in an office. And I can tell you're miserable in an office. And I thought, do you know what? Life's too short. Let's just, if it doesn't work out, I can go and find another job somewhere else. And he said, you can do jobs ashore. You can sort my bait. You can help me mend pots. You can do some paperwork.
This is a movie in the making. If Brad Pitt doesn't find out about this story, what? Because he ends up buying the rights to films and bits and pieces. This is, I mean, to go from that, and then what made you fall in love with it? What was the moment where you caught that mackerel for the first time and you were out at sea? Because what was the moment where you thought, this is, I found my calling. This is what I want to do.
Do you know what? I think it was something to do with the fact that it was so alien to what I was used to. And I was in an office where everybody was looking to me for solutions and the phone was constantly going and I was constantly having to use my brain. Whereas this was something where I needed to use every single muscle in my body just to stay upright. It was a world that I just didn't know. And I loved learning all about boats. I loved learning all about the sea, what's out there, what's below us, how does it all work? It was just, there was so much knowledge and there is so much there's so much to learn about the environment and you're still learning every single day you go out there. You see something different or you experience something different.
So you end up crewing on this boat. You end up then getting offered a boat, buying this boat, getting your license to do it. Can I just say, because you like to be called a female fisherman. That's what you like to be called. That's the reason why I'm saying it. And there is 11,000 fishermen in the UK, currently all around the UK. You're just one of 22 that we know of, I think.
22?
I think, I think it's something around that number. I sort of started trying to find us all. When I first started, I think there was 2 other women who were full-time on boats. And now that number has increased dramatically. It is somewhere around the 20 mark, which doesn't sound a lot, but in the space of a few small years, that is really something when the industry struggles to recruit as it is. So
I take it from this, really, you're all dictated to what you can do with where you live, fundamentally. So if you live where you live, that's the area that you catch, whether you go, otherwise it's bigger boats and you go further out. So tell us what boat you've got. Is that the boat that you're on at the moment? The one that you bought?
Yeah.
So you've got a boat now, that's your boat?
Yeah.
Yes,
awesome.
Yeah. It is a partnership between the skipper and myself. And yeah, she's a dinky little boat called Saoirse, or Saoirse, as I say.
So what is she? What is she?
She's a Cygnus, if that means anything to anybody. But she's 8 meters. She's fiberglass, and she's like a little bath toy.
People are going to be watching this, going, what? So you end up buying a boat. I mean, not even chefs would do this, and they're crazy.
Yeah, that's good. She's more crazy than me.
Exactly. So you end up buying this boat. You then, I presume you got a little bit of experience, 3 months of experience.
So I'd worked with Nigel on his commercial boat for a couple of years before, about a year, 18 months, and then we decided, let's buy a boat. Let's go into partnership and buy another boat.
Right.
Hence, we have another boat.
So you've got another boat. So then you go out. So you go out now. So explain to your average day, because I have massive respect for everybody who does this for a living.
Thank you.
When you go out and doing this sort of stuff, give us your ideal day.
Ideal day is where a tide is at somewhere around 7 o'clock in the morning.
Give us an ideal not day.
Yeah, I was going to say we're a tidal harbour, which means we're limited for access to the actual open sea. So it can mean sometimes getting up at 1 o'clock in the morning to leave the harbour at around 2. And depending on what we're fishing for, will depend on where we're going to go and how long it's going to take to get there. Sometimes that can be a sort of steam anywhere from half an hour to 2.5 hours. I know if you were to say to people, you've got to do a 2.5 hour commute to work, they'd be like, no. But it is what it is.
But this is, I mean, you're looking at it now. It's beautiful, calm behind you. But, I mean, things can change. I mean, I've been boating for quite a while. It can change like that.
And an 8 metre boat is if it's a bit choppy, you're not having a nice time, right?
Well, you say that. I mean, this is she's a really, really good boat. And if it's a bit choppy, sometimes, yeah, it can be a pain. And surprisingly, when it is like that, your body very quickly gets used to it and you kind of turn off and you're like, right, I've got to do the job I've got to do. My body's going to have to work harder to do it. And it gets used to it.
When we talk to you, I want to show you what I've done with your beautiful lobster. We're going to talk a little bit more about what you're doing as well. But I've just broken down the lobster over here. I've made a sauce. I've enriched it with a few egg yolks and bits and pieces. That's in there. And then you put a little bit of salt and pepper in, and we're going to pour this sauce over the top. A lot of chefs what they'll do is they'll put the sauce in, well, the meat in the sauce and everything else, but we're going to pour that over the top. And then I'm going to take some Gruyere cheese. Some people use Parmesan. I'm just going to use some Gruyere cheese over the top. And then we're going to pop that in the oven. So we're now November. You're now fishing. What are you? Because you're saying that it is very, very seasonal anyway. What you're doing. So what predominantly do you enjoy catching, and what do you end up catching now, particularly this time of the year?
This time of the year, the water's starting to cool down, so it's going to be time to start targeting whelks. They're not so active when the water's hot. There's quite a lot of crab and lobster around in the sort of warmer months, so they kind of go to ground because it's a bit of a struggle for them to compete. We'll still go for crab and lobster, but the catches won't be as high.
And
that's interesting because I think a lot of people don't realise how seasonal fish is.
They just think it's available all year round. Well, that's because sadly, because of supermarkets, and we want to discuss about supermarkets as well, because you were saying that, you know, supermarkets have taken. I think they've taken a massive gap in terms of the market away, in terms of that connection between what you are and what the consumer are. There is so many people, middle people in between, companies taking money, and all of a sudden the fish that you catch or the seafood you catch becomes dramatically more expensive. And there's a massive connection there. We're used to food all year round, whereas the stuff that you produce, and where are you selling this anyway? Where can people get hold of this?
I sell directly on the quay, and it's very pop-up, very ad hoc. I have a little chalkboard that I write on the mornings that we go to sea and say, we're coming back at this time and we're likely to have this, this and this, which really does put the pressure on, especially in the summer with the mackerel, which can be really hit or miss. And that's been doing really, really well. The fishmongers in the town sadly shut down this year. So I've had a lot of locals actually coming along saying, this is a brilliant idea. And they're actually very surprised at how cheaply they can buy live lobster as well, which is it's great to be able to offer it to people and for them to be able to get the best seafood.
And that's the thing, isn't it? When you cut out all the middle people and people can see where it's coming from direct from you, and you look at the whites in the eyes of the people that are cooking it, suddenly you're not just fishing for fish anymore, and they're not buying fish just to cook anymore. That's exactly. Important.
But it's one of these stories that, you know, you mentioned your fish supplier in the town as well. I think, you know, stuff like this is important, that we're chatting to you. So it's so important, I think. You know, the cooking's a bit one thing, but I think to keep you guys going and to say, you know, people need to buy the produce that you're producing as well, because we end up exporting. I've just come back from Spain, and I remember walking around the markets in Spain, and they are spectacular markets in Spain. But you're looking at the Dover sole going, well, that's not come from Spain.
That's got a British.
It's definitely come from probably Hastings. Then you're looking at the langoustines. That's probably come from Scotland. We export so much, don't we? It's crazy.
80%. 80%, I believe.
80% of all the fish,
80%.
all what we catch gets exported.
Yep. It's criminal, and also 80% of the fleet of boats in this country are the small under 10 metre boats. And we have no easy ways to big markets. The infrastructure just isn't there anymore.
So I think it's becoming harder and harder for you to get your catch to market.
Yeah, absolutely, because the markets aren't there like they used to be anymore. Yeah, there are still fish markets up and down the country, but the closest one for me would be a 3-hour round trip. Put that on top of a 12-hour day. It's just not.
See, I don't
viable.
do crusades. I don't do placards and bits and pieces because I try and do this sort of thing. But it's inspired me to maybe think about something for next year to give you a hand as well.
Well,
but
and also, I'm thinking because so just tell everyone where exactly you are in Norfolk.
Wells next to the sea.
Okay, so I've moved and you're an hour from me. So
Are you?
Yes, we'll chat later.
Yeah, okay.
Because
if you're an hour that way, that works quite well.
I'm keen to come and see you.
Well, that's in Norfolk. That could mean at rush hour. That could mean 4 hours, to be honest with you. I've been to Norfolk as well. But...
I know what time to go.
Exactly.
I've got it down.
Look, hopefully I've done this justice. I made a little salad. We got a classic French-style dressing. We got 1 part white wine vinegar, 3 parts vegetable oil, a little bit of mustard, touch of water, salt and pepper, and that's gone in there. And we've got our lobster thermidor.
Now, this is what I would call simple but perfect food, right?
Which has been grilled with the lobster, with the sauce, over the top. So actually, hopefully, you can see that. Hopefully, I've done it justice.
Yeah, you have. I'm
Exactly.
kind of gutted I'm not there to have it.
Well, stay on the line. You can watch him eat it as well. But there you have it, my classic lobster thermidor. Done. Well, there you have it, Ashley. Hopefully I've done it justice. We've got the larger one. He wanted the larger one.
I remember that one coming up in the pot.
Oh, you remember it, do you?
Yeah, I was specifically looking for a big brute that day, specifically for you.
Oh, we're brilliant. Thank you very much. And we've got a selection of other stuff you've got on here as well. You've got your lobster, you've got your beautiful crab.
Yeah.
And these shrimps are amazing as well. These shrimps are... We've been eating them all morning. These are fantastic, these shrimps as well. Never thought I'd have shrimps for breakfast, but these are lovely. So you've got some live ones behind you, haven't you, as well?
I have.
Let's have a look at these ones as well. Look at that.
Lively.
Lively little things.
But he's not red.
He's not red. When I've been selling them on the quay, people have been saying, what's wrong with those lobsters? Why aren't they red? And I have had to say it's because they're not cooked yet, and that's obviously when they turn red.
I wish you all the best of luck with it. It's brilliant what you're doing. And next time I'm over, I'm going to come and see you. Take care.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for sending us your catch as well. It's a pleasure. You're welcome anytime. There we go.
you.
I'll be serving up barbecued mackerel for Countdown legend Carol Vorderman very shortly. And Ronnie will be firing at the hobs a little bit later using pumpkin as well. Not soup. I'm going to be doing that. But Doug, whenever, because after the break, I'll be diving into the archives and dishing up more classic cookery. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, I'll be cooking for the one and only Carol Vorderman very shortly. And also, I'll be chatting to singing sensation Joss Stone a little bit later. Right, we're keeping the food coming thick and fast this morning. So it's time to enjoy another delicious dish from the archives. And this week, we're heading down to Lympstone Manor on the Ex-Estuary to enjoy a dish from the very talented Michael Keynes. Enjoy this one.
So I'm going to be cooking this lovely Moroccan-style couscous with salmon, which I'm going to do a little glaze of mayonnaise and also a little bit of Greek yogurt, some spice on top of that, a little bit of zest of orange, garlic, and then we've got the beautiful spice of this cardamom and cumin and fennel seeds coming through with some fresh coriander that I'm going to chop with it. And I'm going to do asparagus, which I'm going to grill very, very simply, and also make a little dipping sauce using cucumber and yogurt, nice and fresh with some mint through it as well. This will be a delicious and slightly healthy dish, but not too healthy, because I know you like your butter, James. So I've got some red onion here, which we're going to just slice. Only going to need about half of this. Nice and fine, because we don't want it actually cooking. We want a little bit of its texture. And we also have some shallot. Doesn't have to be really, really fine. It's nice to have a little bit of texture coming from these shallots. Couscous could be quite bland, so it's all about layering up with lots of flavours. So for this, I'm going to use orange juice as opposed to just water because it's got a little bit more acidity and slightly sweeter flavour to it. And all of those spices in there will give it a lovely, lovely flavour. OK, so next we're going to prepare our cucumber. We're going to peel it first, and then we're going to cut it and slice it. I'm going to leave the seeds in. I don't mind. A lot of people take the seeds out. You get lots of juiciness from those seeds. So all I'm going to do is cut it in half and then slice the cucumber nice and fine. So now we've got the cucumber slice, we're going to chop our herbs. So we'll start off with the mint, just peel down some nice leaves. The trouble with chopping your herbs outside is that the wind blows them away. You've got to chop quick. Right, that's enough before they disappear. Coriander is absolutely fantastic. It goes really well with this wonderful marinade that we're going to put on top of the salmon. So just going to chop that nice and fine. And now with the asparagus, all I'm going to do is just simply cut that down, take the root off, just keep it nice and long, and they'll be grilled very, very lightly with some seasoning, salt and pepper and a little bit of olive oil. And finally, our salmon. We're just going to cut that into nice-sized portions. So make sure your fishmonger's taking off the skin and taking out those bones as well that run down the centre, like that. And there we are, ready to go. Now we've got everything prepared, it's time to go into the kitchen and actually do some cooking. First of all, we're going to make the couscous. We're going to heat up our orange juice to get that nice and hot. Let's get our couscous in the bowl. To this, we're going to add our finely chopped shallots, and then our sliced onion, which is the red onion I'm using here. And then into that, my spice mix. Brilliant, lovely, beautiful flavouring. And in there, I've got the peel as well. That's important with Moroccan couscous, that you've got all those spice and the layering of flavours. So as well, we've got our mint, 2 little spices that I like in addition, star anise and also fennel seed. I'm going to put that in with the orange juice just to get the flavour into the orange juice and to make that seed go a little bit soft. We're going to mix that all with a little bit of olive oil, seasoning, salt and pepper, and then that's going to be ready for us to put the hot orange juice on. We'll cling film that and let that fluff up. While we're waiting for that, let's make the salmon marinade. For that, we've got mayonnaise and a little bit of Greek yogurt, half and half of each. So first up, we're going to toast the seed. So I've got some fennel seed and cumin seed mixed in together. Toast it very, very lightly, just so it starts to bring out its full flavour. A zest of orange, chopped garlic. Mix that up, season with a little bit of salt and pepper. Toasted spice into it as well. And now that's ready to put on the salmon. The salmon, we're just going to use 2 pieces. And all we do is just take that lovely marinade and generously put on top of the salmon. And now we're ready for that to go into the oven. It's going to take about 20 minutes maximum. And then whilst we're cooking the salmon, we can prepare our asparagus. I'm just going to dribble it with olive oil and season it with salt and pepper. And I'm going to grill that on the oven so it's nice and charred. You get a lovely flavour. The asparagus is nice and thin. If you're using larger asparagus, just blanch it in boiling water very, very quickly, just to loosen them up before you cook them on top of the griddle. Finally, we're going to make this lovely cucumber dip. Very, very simple. Using the rest of your mayonnaise and your Greek yogurt, you're just going to mix into that the lovely sliced cucumber, some chopped mint, season it with salt and pepper, and just leave that to sit for about 10 minutes before you cook it, just so the juices come out. So you start off with quite a thick mayonnaise, and then it'll end up nice and soft. OK, we're ready to dress now. Let's get our couscous in the bowl. We've got these lovely asparagus. Cucumber dip. Very, very simple. And then a little bit of olive oil around the outside. Put a little bit of herb on it, just to make it look good. So there we have it, my Moroccan-style salmon with couscous, asparagus, and cucumber dip.
How good does that look? If you're ever down in that neck of the woods, look him up, because he's got a beautiful vineyard now running right down to the estuary. Spectacular place. Judy Dew will be sharing her recipe for kimchi pancakes, and Chef Ronnie Murray will be treating us to a butternut squash salad later on this morning. But I'll see you here after the break, when I'll be chatting to TV icon, yes, Carol Vorderman will be here, and I'll be cooking a little dish of mackerel. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, coming up, we'll be enjoying kimchi pancakes, courtesy of Chef Judy Dew. And singer Joss Stone will be joining me at the house very shortly. But first, I'm delighted to be here with a true TV icon who, over the course of her career, has become one of the best love stars on the box. It's the one and only Carol Vorderman.
Oh, thank you.
Wonderful to have you here.
I cannot believe.
Can't believe you've not been down here.
I've interviewed you, I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
Loose women and all sorts of
Yes.
different things. The whole Yorkshire thing going on.
Yeah.
Leeds, blah.
Exactly. We're going to talk about your career as well. But I can't believe you've not been on any of my Saturday morning shows.
I know you. Thank you. Have asked
16
me many
years of
times.
Saturday mornings.
I know.
We've been asking. You've not been coming.
Oh, I've no excuse.
Yeah, exactly.
You do realise, though,
But-
if you cook me something that I really like, you're not going to get rid of me.
Well, hopefully you like this one as well. So this is mackerel. So I know you're not into dairy as well. So we're
Yeah,
going to do
not
we're gonna-
particularly, yeah.
So we're going to do some beautiful barbecued mackerel. We're going to do this harissa style sauce. We're going to do it with barbecued purple sprout broccoli. But we're also going to do some sugar snap peas. These are really peas on the barbecue as well. These are taste amazing.
Never seen that
A nice
before.
little dressing to go with it. But it all starts off with a little bit of fish. So I'm just going to trim off this like that, and that's going to go on there. But like I said, your career, where do we even begin? I want to start right at the very, very beginning
Okay.
because you trained to be an engineer.
I did.
Where did that come from in your family? Where was that?
Well, it didn't really. So,
Well, I tried to figure out where it was, but I was...
you didn't know. So I grew up in North Wales. So I was born 1960, and single parent, and Mum had 3 kids, and my father had gone off, and then she married my dad. I called him my stepfather.
Yeah.
But to me, my dad, who was a mad Italian who'd been a prisoner of war.
Yeah.
And my dad was a builder. So in the backyard of the house, it was literally, there was a mechanic's pit. Well,
Yeah.
basically a hole in the ground.
Just a hole in the ground.
It was a hole in the ground, filled with water most of the time.
Right.
That my stepbrother Arthur used to do stock car racing and stuff like that.
okay.
But I'm talking like rough now, you know, everything was rough. So it was all of that. And my job when I was like 11 or 12 on a Sunday was to make bricks. So I was always on like a building site with my dad.
Yeah.
And surrounded by, you know, like machines and stuff. And I was really good at maths, no surprise there. And I was a year ahead at school. I was at a comp. I was a free school meals kid.
Yeah.
And I only ever wanted to be an RAF fighter pilot, right?
Don't we all? I still do, to be honest with you.
High five.
I still do, yeah.
High five. So I applied to various universities and got accepted. And I thought, oh, I'll apply to Cambridge. And everyone was going, well, no, Carol, no kid on free school meals from North Wales has been, you know, or from a comp, you know,
Love it.
to Cambridge. It's now 1978. And I thought, well, and, you know, it's like, and? Well, what's that got to do with the price of fish?
Yeah.
So I applied when I was 16, and then I got in. I started when I was 17 in Cambridge doing engineering. So long story, but
And
it's like...
but you then end up working in Yorkshire, don't you? So how
So
do
then
you go
my mum left my stepfather,
Love
and we.
this.
I mean, when I say we had no money, we literally had nothing. So she said to me one morning, "I'm leaving him again, darling." This was just after I graduated, and I went, "Oh, not again." Thinking, "Oh, we'll go back." She said, "This time it's for good." So, drove off to stay with my sister, who at the time lived in Windsor Safari Park. Long story. So she lived in Windsor Safari Park because she'd run off to the circus earlier in the... Anyway. And,
You couldn't write this, could you?
Right, I know. And then my mum ended up living in Diggs. So she was like 52 or 53. So she's living in a student room in Windsor. I'm living out the car in Lowestoft or wherever I was working for this company, Christian Salverson. And I said, Mum, we can't go on like this. So, because I used to travel to see her twice a week and sleep on her floor in her little room.
Yeah.
And it was like, she's no future. I said, and I had my boyfriend then, my first big love, used to live in Yorkshire, and he played rugby in the amateur days up in Leeds. So I used to go up every now and again. And I fell in love with Leeds. I said, let's go to Leeds, Mum. And she said, I've never been to Yorkshire, darling. I said, I was 21. Don't you worry, I'll find the house. I'll sort a joint mortgage. She was a secretary, so she could get a job anywhere. And then she moved, got this job, and Mum saw in the Yorkshire Evening Post, which you'll know, Yorkshire YEP, this whole article about this new channel that was going to start Channel 4.
Yeah.
And it was, they had this new show called Countdown. So she wrote a letter as if she was me, forged my signature, put in my graduation photo, which is a typical mother thing to do, right? On graduation, posted it, and then told me what she'd done. And then I went, oh, okay, yeah. I was quietly pleased she'd done it, but never thought for a second I'd even get a phone call. And I did.
But from there, I mean, doing that show for that many years, I mean, talk about a show that suits somebody. It suits you to the ground, that. I mean, that's just...
I absolutely loved it. We've ignored all the food now.
Well, this is a bit... Look, there's chargo... But these are all... The recipe's on the internet anyway. Look, you've got chargo, broccoli and bits and pieces.
You see, that is exactly my thing.
Well, it's not quite finished yet.
No, I know that, but
we've got
I
the
will
mackerel over
tuck in
here.
at
But I
that
want to talk to you about this new book then, because
Okay.
you've got this perfect 10 quiz book.
Yeah.
I have to say, I did my first pub quiz for a long while, local pub down the road. I was fourth from last. I was useless. So this is going to come in quite handy for me as well, really.
Okay.
Tell us about this.
Okay.
Thing. Yeah.
So earlier this year, I started a podcast called Perfect 10.
Right.
And it's just lovely because we have like a riddle in it, and then a little bit of wordplay, a memory round, a sort of say what you hear, like audio clips. I can never get the answer to that one. And what happens? It's a bit like on Countdown. You do the letters game.
Yeah.
On that, you might get a 4 or a 5 or a 6, but it's really rare to get a 9.
Yeah.
So it's the same with this Perfect 10 scoring. Because we're testing different parts, you probably score a 5 or 6 or 7, even an 8. It's really hard to get a 10. But I've dug out a few that are particularly to do with...
Right, I'm going to turn my attention to my fish now, which is in here, changing the subject.
Now, let me set this one. It's a riddle.
Can I just put the peas on first? So these peas...
Yeah, go on.
These peas, you can cook peas on the barbecue. All you do is just drizzle them with olive oil. You
Just olive oil.
Just olive oil, and you sit them in the coals.
So you could do it, because I spend a lot of time around campfires.
And watch the steam. So this is the steam. Peas contain a lot of water.
Yeah.
Natural water anyway, because you need that anyway to grow peas. But if you keep them on there, they actually puff up in their pods.
Oh,
and they char the pods, and they go like edamame beans, you know, those wonderful little beans, and you can eat them out the pods. You sprinkle it with a bit of salt, and you have that with the mackerel and
And
everything else.
unlike the edamame beans, you can eat the pod.
Yes, you can eat
Because
the
I
whole thing of
went
this one.
to a very posh Japanese restaurant for the first time, and I was with one of the bosses from ITV like 20 years ago,
Right.
and I thought, I'll have that, because I could see what everyone else, I'll have that. And I was like jumping through the furry bit.
Yeah, we had that. We had somebody try and eat a scallop shell the other day in my restaurant. That didn't last 2 minutes. Anyway, go on then. Set this up then. Go on.
A riddle.
Riddle. A riddle.
James Martin has a box of 12 eggs. Right. He breaks 2 eggs. He fries 2 eggs, and he eats 2 eggs. What is the maximum number of eggs that could be left in that box? Have a think. Okay, box of 12 eggs.
Yeah, 10.
Broke. Yeah, how do you work that one out?
Because the only 2 eggs that are missing is ones that's eaten.
He's broken them, he's fried
He's
them,
still got
and
the
he's
fried
eaten
one,
them.
he's still got the broken one.
Oh, he's a clever lad, that
Well,
James
not-
Martin, isn't
not,
he?
not really. Can we stop there? Because that's about as good as it gets with my
No,
pub quiz.
we're going to do a little word one now.
Right, go on then.
OK, so on this, I give you a word and I'll spell it
You're
out.
now interviewing me. I was supposed to be interviewing you.
No,
Now it's
and
swapped, you see.
then-
Go on.
And then you swap 2 letters, OK?
Oh, I'm not very good at this.
No,
Go on.
no, you'll be fine. So the word is padlock, Padlock. So you take 2 letters out and you put 2 new letters in to make a type of fish. There are 2 possible answers. Padlock.
May have got it.
Go on.
Haddock.
Yes. Haddock. So you change the P for an H, and then you change the L for
Right.
a
In
D.
terms of football, we're going to stop there before
So you
the
could
going's
have
good.
pollock as well. You could
I
have
could have had.
pollock.
I was thinking pollock, to be
Were
honest with
you
you. I
now?
was thinking that as well.
There you go.
Until my director told me in my ear. It was haddock. It's always quite handy, that. This will be brilliant in a pub quiz. Can I use this next? Don't tell the pub. Down the road. This will be
Yes,
ace.
you do.
This will
Do
be
that.
ace. We could have a load of you outside, to be honest with
In
you.
the van.
Yeah, exactly.
We'd sit
We'd
in
have
the
parked
van.
in the van.
That'd be a laugh.
Right, there's your fresh peas.
Oh, my God, this
over the
is-
top as well. Now, I'm going to talk to you about flying as well. We've got Joss here, so you're going to join us at the end of the show. We can talk about guitars.
That is honestly
singing.
like my ideal food.
Well, that's the hopefully idea. And then we've got the mint and the coriander. So all I've done is you just take mint and coriander over the top like this, and we've got this amazing dressing. It's the dressing that brings
How
it all.
long did the mackerel take?
3-4 minutes on
I know,
there.
it's nothing, is it,
That's
with
all they're going
fish?
to take, like that. And we've got this amazing harissa-style dressing, which has got the lemon and everything else. But there we have it. Carol Vorderman, the first time on the show, my first dish for you. Barbecue mackerel, a little bit of peas and a harissa sauce.
Yay!
Bon appetit.
Is that all for me?
Well, it was for you, yeah. So, well, you said you didn't want to leave. There you go. We're not going to make you leave.
I don't want to leave. I don't want to ever leave again.
Well, tell me what you think of that. Taste a little bit of the mackerel. Probably this bit. Look at that. It's just that amazing.
It's just.
bit.
I'm being polite.
And
Usually
it's
I
so
just eat
simple
with
to
my
cook.
fingers. but-
So. I love dishes like
it's
this.
amazing.
There you go. Carol Vorderman, everybody. Right, there'll be more from Carol a little bit later, and I'll be serving up a rum and raisin sticky toffee pudding for singer Joss Stone very shortly. Do you want a bit of that as well? But join us again after the break with Chef Ronnie Murray. We'll be whipping up a butternut squash winter salad. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, singing sensation Joss Stone will be making her Saturday morning debut very shortly, and there's a masterclass in cooking steak coming your way a little bit later. But first, I'm joined in the house by first-time chef Judy Dew. Welcome to the house. Welcome to the show. And we're about to enjoy another cracking recipe from a chef who's blown all us away with some amazing creations he's created since the last time he was on here, from his apple pie to crazy deep-fried omelettes. It's the brilliant Ronnie Murray! Ching, 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 pal.
Cheers.
Ching, ching. What are we going to be making then? What are you going to be doing?
So
Pumpkin.
we're going to turn Paul the pumpkin.
Paul the pumpkin.
Paul the pumpkin.
Why is Paul called Paul?
Well, why not? P and P, right? No better reason. I need to thank my dad for carving my pumpkin for me, because I've been very busy and I didn't have time. So thanks, Dad. So, I mean, sort of, you know, we're maybe a bit late for pumpkins, but it got me thinking all the pumpkins that go in the bin and get wasted.
Yeah.
Which is a real shame. So
exactly.
Just for ease of quickness, we're going to use a butternut squash. So if I get you to prep that for me, Chef.
Yeah.
And then, so we're just going to dice some rough chunks. In true Blue Peter fashion. We've got some, obviously, that we've done earlier, so I'm going to give those a little flash in the oven.
Now, you moved out to the countryside now.
Well, the secret's out now.
The Peckham lad is now in the countryside. I do not believe it.
I had to escape to the country.
When was this? When did this happen?
So about Christmas time, we moved, and then lots of ag with houses and bits and pieces like that. So we're all sorted now. We've got a nice new house. We've basically outgrown Peckham. So the kitchen in the house, you know, it was taking over the world, and the garden wasn't quite big enough. So we've just kind of escaped out to the countryside. And then the idea is, like the show, we will move Peckham, not all of it, just my bit of Peckham, to the countryside. So we'll keep the ethos and we'll keep all the stuff that we do all the same, but we'll just have a lot more space and a bit more room. And
how are you finding that life in the countryside?
I love it. I love it.
Because are you living in New York now, or?
No, I live in Marylebone.
Oh, well, that's slightly different. You don't have potato fields and stuff like that.
Exactly. I don't have a garden.
It's a bit rogue out there. You've got a bit of
salt,
little bit of seasoning, Chef.
So a little bit of salt. That's your squash.
Right, that's great.
So and then salt, pepper, and then bake it in the oven.
So we'll throw that in the oven.
Okay.
In the meantime, the other wedge of squash we're just going to shave. On a mandolin, which makes me extremely...
Do you want me to do that?
Do you want to have a... Because that makes me extremely nervous, because if you lose a finger on a mandolin, it's bad news. If I lose a finger on a mandolin, it's a disaster. So we just stay away from that stuff.
Right, look, there you go. We've got these. So you then... you've stored yours in a little bit of water, yeah?
Yeah, so the idea is... So we'll peel the pumpkin, we'll dice it, put it in the oven. While it's in the oven, the shaved stuff goes in a little bit of water there.
Yeah.
And that just helps to make it curl up a bit. So you can shave it as thin or as thick as you like. Obviously, the thinner, the more curly it goes.
Yeah.
A bit more aesthetically pleasing to the eye,
Absolutely.
if you like. Right. So that's roasting. So the idea is sort of pumpkin 3 ways, if you like.
Yeah.
So we've got some raw that we'll shave. We've got some that we're roasting that we'll use as chunky.
And I'll take this one out that you're warming up, because I know you want to get a few bits and pieces in here as well.
So what we want to put on here is, so we're just going to put a few pumpkin seeds. So these need 4 or 5 minutes just to toast up. And then some nice chilli flake. You can use fresh chilli if you want. My worry with fresh chilli always is, you don't know how hot it is, right?
Yeah.
Chilli flakes generally tend to be quite consistent. So restaurants, I don't know about you, but I try and stay away from... I mean, it's a bit different in your cooking, but I try and stay... I don't understand about heat and fire, and so if I stick with dry chilli, I kind of can regulate. I know where I am. Make sense?
I guess so. You can always try the fresh chili.
You're doing this.
I'm trying to dig myself out of a hole here with the spice. You know, with the chili master.
Because kimchi's the same sort of thing. You're going to be doing that a little bit later.
Yeah.
You can get you buy it and it can be, what on earth is that?
You blow your head off.
I mean, kimchi is kind of like the spaghetti sauce of Korea. So every family has their own recipe. So some of it can be very hot, some of it can be not so hot. And there are also white kimchis that aren't spicy at all.
Yeah. Every day's a school day. Ronnie, every day's a school day.
It is.
Right, so this goes in here.
Never stop learning.
So that's what about this one that we got in here?
So this one, we've got that covered just to stop it from getting too much colour. You want a little bit of colour, but you don't want too much. So you want it nice and soft. So when you pick it up, you should be able to just squash it.
Yeah.
So that we're going to whip.
So how much do you want in this? All of it or half of it? Or?
Yeah, we'll throw it in, right?
Throw it in.
Because it's always better in a blender. So
all of it?
More. Yeah, all of it, yeah.
All of it.
Because we've got the other stuff for the relish. Okay. And then, so like I say, we'll turn it on, we'll see whether it's blended. Sometimes you need to add a little bit of water or you need to add a little bit of oil just to get it going.
So where are you cooking then at the moment? Where are you still cooking now? You moved out of the countryside. Where are you?
So I'm doing bits and pieces in London for a few people. So I've been out on the Thames quite a lot recently on a boat.
Yeah.
That's good fun. And then I cook somewhere called I like to call Hogwarts.
Hogwarts.
So, Hogwarts. So it's an old livery hall. It's a stationer's hall. It's an old livery hall. It's one of my old head chefs is the head chef there. And it's really nice. I'm going in a couple of days. I do 3 doubles, which is probably what most people do work in a week, right?
3 doubles is a chef's top for split shifts.
No, for all day.
All day.
So I start at 8 and I finish at 12.
All right, OK, yeah.
I stay somewhere in London, then I go home again. So that's probably about 42, 44 hours a week, which is what most people do in 5. It's fine.
Right,
so I cram 3 days into a whole week, and then I go home and do a bit of the garden, do a bit of DIY.
This is what I love about his food. You can just, I'll do it all, and he just has a drink. That's what
I look busy. It works much better.
Yeah, thanks.
I
Yeah.
find.
So look,
we'll do the shaved squash. I'll do some work.
do you want this seasoning? Salt and pepper?
Oh, yeah, for sure, chef, for sure.
OK.
How's the texture? So you want it kind of nice and silky.
Yeah, I'll get it silky for you.
You've done this before, isn't it?
I'll get it silky for you.
That's all
Now,
right.
please tell me, Judy, have you tasted his apple pie before? It is unbelievable.
Do you cook the filling first or raw apples inside?
Cook the filling
the
first.
filling first?
And it's the way you cook the filling. So you cook it in 3 times.
Okay.
So you cook some, and then you add some, then you add some more, and that's how you get the
Interesting.
texture.
Interesting.
Right. But
So
I
what
was
are we
on
doing next then?
right. So shaved squash, we just drained it off.
Yeah.
A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. I'll get you to do the pepper because you have a pepper mill.
There you go.
I'm not very good with a pepper mill. Perfect.
go,
And then we're just going to do
Olive oil?
a little bit of olive oil. And then we got a microplane, yep, we just do a little zest of lemon.
I can do that.
A little zest of lemon in there.
Yep.
And then I brought along as well, you know me, I don't like to quite follow. I submit the recipe, your crew love me. I submit the recipe and then I bring something else. Somebody's going, oh, God, that guy. So what I've got...
What is this?
Well, so
they've got to write it down and put it on the internet.
I know. When I was at home, I walked past my herb patch. So I picked all my herbs, I blended them in a blender with a little bit of caper, a little bit of salt and pepper, a little bit of oil. And I made almost like a sort of fake salsa verde type number. But the reason we do this at home is because then we can put it into small containers in the freezer, and you've got fresh herbs to use in your cooking all through the winter. So that's the top tip, I think.
Got that one. This is very velvety, by the way. It's very nice.
That is silky smooth, chef.
Silky smooth.
Oh, careful.
Right. So,
how do you want this? A piece?
a little bit of that on the bottom, and then we're just going to use that as a base for our salad.
Okay.
And then our relish, so those seeds are nicely nicely toasted.
They're toasted at the same time, yeah?
Yeah, so we roast the squash first, then we toast the seeds with the chilli. That gives it a nice little flavour.
Happy with that?
Yeah, just kind of, you know me, chef. Just
kind of
whack it in.
Kind of that as well.
Bit of rocket in there. It's nice, bit of colour.
But
I
mentioned your CV. You have got an amazing CV. You did work with some phenomenal places.
Yeah, so we worked at Sheiky's, and then we opened Scott's with Tim Hughes and Mark Hicks, and then I did a few years there, and then I went off with Hicksy when he was busy taking over the world. Well, you got me confused there. I need to do the relish first. No, it's fine. I can talk and work. I remember how it works. Yeah, so we did all that.
Well, you talk, I'll just put it on the plate.
No, it's fine. I feel like I need to do some work, otherwise you're gonna mug me off like normal. So a little bit of roasted in there, a little bit of stuff, a little bit of that in there.
I'll finish that one off.
Go on, you finish that
Talk about where you... Go on. Because do you think there's a lot of restaurants have a moment in time?
Yeah,
and there's that moment where you just think, it's a bit like the south of France. I was in the south of France the other month, and I thought, this would have been amazing in the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, that era.
Definitely.
It's very different to what it is now. And I think restaurant-wise, it's the same. But Sheiky's and all that kind of stuff, back in that era in London...
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the golden age of the theatre as well, a bit, we had all sorts of people in and out. I remember when I was at Sheiky's, when it was a lot smaller than it is now, we'd do 100 pre-theatre, 100 in the middle and 100 post-theatre, and last orders was 12 o'clock. And I'd be doing puddings. I'd be doing puddings at half 1, quarter to 2 in the morning.
Gosh.
Back in at 7.
I was the same, because I was at 190 Queensgate. They had round the corner the Gore Hotel. I was behind the scenes of the Albert Hall.
Yeah.
And we used to get a lot of that. Queues of people at midnight. And pastry, you'd wait till the last check and they go... Yeah,
you were pastry.
No, actually, they don't want dessert.
That was my next line, that's my favourite. Or you'd be sitting there and you'd see the manager getting changed.
Yeah.
You remember that? You'd see the manager getting changed. You'd be like, so are they having pudding? Oh, no, I forgot about you. Sorry, they left 20 minutes ago. Yeah, thanks very much. Right. Cheers.
So you've taken this with a little bit of lemon and olive oil in here.
Yeah, just a little bit of... I mean, you could dress that with anything you want. And the good thing about this salad is you can add... I mean, you could add anything into it. This happens to be veggie vegan, but you could add some goat's cheese in there. We've done it with toasted walnuts, all sorts of bits and pieces, all sorts of gourds. I mean, you could mix it up. You could do the whipped as a different pumpkin. Yeah. Nice bit of that green stuff in there.
And do you want the stereotypical chefy drizzle of olive oil?
Oh, go on, chef, why not?
I thought you might want to as well. So while we're doing this, then give us the name of this dish, then.
So we call this pumpkin salad, quite simply.
That's it. There we have it. Mr. Ronnie Murray, everybody. Easy as that.
Thank
no
you.
pressure there, then, chef.
I know.
No pressure there. There we go.
Judy's very nice. She'll say it's nice, even. That's all right, actually.
Really good.
Quite nice with just a bit.
I like the idea of the fresh and the cooked and the puree, and you just get the great thing about all this is texture, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
That's the fantastic.
Well, that's it, right? And I think sometimes when people do a vegetarian dish, it's quite one-dimensional, right? It's nice to have. You need that texture as well.
Ronnie Murray, everybody.
Yeah.
Right, Judy, we'll try to top trump Ronnie's dish a little bit later with some kimchi as well, kimchi pancakes. And I'll be showing you how to cook the perfect steak in this week's Little Masterclass. But join us again after the break. We've got singer Joss Stone will be here, and we'll be getting stuck into a rum and raisin sticky toffee pudding. That's coming up next. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Now we're showing you the do's and don'ts of cooking steak in this week's Little Masterclass, and we've got more fantastic food on the way from Chef Judy Dew. But first, I'm here with a woman who rose to fame as a teenager when her incredible vocals helped her storm the charts all over the world. It's brilliant to have her on the show and at my house. It's the brilliant Joss Stone. Absolutely fantastic. Good to see you. I say good to see you again, because we've met. I've interviewed you several times, but there's so much more I want to talk to you about, particularly what you're doing now as well. And I know from previous appearances you're a big food lover as well. So,
I am. I'm a real foodie.
Particularly desserts. We're going to do this sticky toffee pudding with rum and raisin sticky toffee pudding.
Delicious.
So usual sticky toffee pudding is made with dates. We've got some pitted dates over here, and we put those in with some water, and I'm going to gently warm this up, and then I'm going to mix together sugar, butter and eggs, and then incorporate all together. But I want to talk to you about your career and I mean, how do we compact this in sort of 10 minutes, really? You got spot when you were 14 years old. Your 14 was it 14, 15? Your life.
Roundabout. That's when I got signed.
You got signed. Was it a talent show you did as well?
Yes.
And it changed your. Did you go in for it? Did your mum go in for it?
I did.
Right.
It's a bit of a strange story, and I will make it very, very short.
Right.
There was a horse that I was in love with. My dad, who sold dates for a living.
Sold
by
genuine
the ton,
dates for a living.
Yes. Yeah. So this pudding is very, it's very emotional for me, James.
Yeah.
He said, look, we can't keep the horse, it's too expensive. So I was like, OK, I get a job. I wrote off to the show. I sang in my little karaoke machine, sent a little cassette off. They sent a letter back, and my mum was like, look what she's done.
But singing, was that what you wanted to do, or was that just something that...
What I wanted to do, I thought, how do I get a job so I can buy my horse back? I know, I can't do maths, I can't do science, I can't do English. I was like, I couldn't do any of it. But I thought, I can sing. People do that for a job. I know they do.
And it just, you're like, talk about a life-changing moment, because, I mean, it changed beyond belief. It went crazy for you as well.
It did a bit, yeah.
What was that like, crazy for you? Because you ended up 14, 15 years old, happy family, being in the family, and then sent off to America to record an album, and it must have been just crazy.
I remember the first gig was at a place called Tobacco Road in Miami, and it was so full. There was, like, people spilling out of it, and I don't know why or how. And I would just cry, like, before and after the gig, because I was so nervous.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought that you sort of get to start, like, slow and work your way. It was just terrifying. And then after a few years of that, I was like, OK, sort yourself out. It's going to be all right. This is your job.
But from the first album, it was sort of... It's been 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years has passed.
And I still get nervous before the show.
20 years have passed, because now you're doing something else, something different. We're going to show a little clip of it as well.
I'm so excited about this.
But this is an amazing story. How... particularly who you've been working with as a wannabe guitarist as well.
Yeah.
So tell us about who you're working with and what you're doing now.
So I met this lovely man when I was about 17, and his name is Dave Stewart, and he has been...
How old were you?
Oh, I was 17. He was making the soundtrack to Alfie, and he goes, oh, I want this girl Joss to come and sing on this project. So that's how we became friends, and then since then he just is so lovely. He will invite me on the best projects.
But this musical
is my favourite so far. Like,
so this was not you performing on it. This was just you helping him write it.
So I got to help him write it, which is like, that's a dream for me, because I've just had my babies. Touring is sort of slowing down because I want a mummy, but I do want to write songs. I want to keep writing, and this story is so it will break your heart and then mend your heart and then break your heart again.
But you were doing this, didn't
beautiful.
COVID hit at the same time, and you were doing this because he lives somewhere slightly different?
Yes.
Can we say?
So, Dave, I live in Nashville because Dave lives down the road.
Yeah.
But he also has a place in the Bahamas, which is where we wrote half the stuff for The Time Traveler's Wife, the musical, which is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And, so I kind of run around sort of like where Dave is, we go. Right. Because he's like, well,
and this
come
process,
to my studio. I'm like,
this
okay,
process is... Well, tell us about the story, because it's based on something very famous to start off with.
Yes.
The book.
Yeah. So The Time Traveler's Wife, it is about their journey as a couple. So it's a massive love story between two somewhat ordinary people that just... One of them happens to time travel all over the place in a very unorganised manner. So... The wife, Claire, is sat, waiting, always waiting, never knowing when he's going to come back, if he's going to come back.
Yeah.
And she's a very creative person, and she feels like she can't be herself in her own way and create and, paint and make these beautiful sculptures. she can't get into it because she's so worried that he's like dead in a ditch somewhere, and then he just turns up.
Yeah.
And it's that.
Well, we're going to show a little clip of it in a minute while I'm mixing all this together. But we've got in here, we've got the dates I've just blended. In we go with the bicarb. You need to make sure everything is ready. You've got your line tray. Yeah. I've got my little sultanas over there. I've got my flour, got everything else. I'm going to mix all this lot together. It's going to puff up. While that's going on, just watch a little bit of this and what the two of them are collaborated together from, because it's pretty amazing. Have a listen to this.
They did a great
They're
job.
liking it. Look, there's the sponge. I've added the bicarb and it starts to rise up. So 180 degrees for about 35, 40 minutes is what you want to bake this for. Nice. And then I've got one that I've been baking, which I'm going to warm through as well. But that's the finished version as well. Nice. That goes in there. And then we're going to slice this and just warm it all up now because it's going to be served with a sauce. But tell me about where you're living now, because, you know, I've been quite fortunate to go to Nashville. There is something really, really special about that place. Is that the reason why you went there, because of the music side of it?
Well, I went there because I was making an album with Dave, and we recorded that album with musicians that we'd known from time past in Nashville. Yeah. And I was 7 months pregnant with my first baby. So I thought, God, I need to have this baby somewhere. Because we weren't really living anywhere. We were very nomadic. So we were like, oh, I don't know. I was in New Jersey for a bit. I was in Brooklyn for a bit. Cody's from Rhode Island. We just thought, should we just live here? So we did, and we had the baby there, and then we stayed, and we've been there for 3 years.
It is, I mean, the story of your life. You're a man of music, you write one about yourself, because we're making a little sauce over here. We've got the rum in there. Mm-hmm. We've got the sugar. You mentioned Dave Stewart as well. You've worked with some amazing people in your life as well.
I've been very lucky.
And people that actually phone you up going, can we work together? And I was reading, one of the people that actually phoned you up and said, can we work together? The genius in my world, Mick Jagger.
Oh, Mick, I know. He's so
lovely. Where did that all come from?
Well, that's Dave as well. He's just a matchmaker. Right. Honestly. So Mick was there the first day I met Dave on the Alfie soundtrack. And then years later, we were part of a band together called Super Heavy that Dave, again, was like, hey, I think we should make a supergroup with Damian Marley and A.R. Rahman, and hey, Mick's going to be involved. I thought, what is happening to my life?
There still must be a pinch yourself moment there, even with all your things you're doing as well at the moment, because the musical, it's bound to be a success. It has been a success anyway. Whereabouts can people go see it?
They can see it at the Apollo in the West End. Oh my God, it's so exciting. Just to say that, it's exciting for me.
It's fantastic, though. It's another string to your bow. So what about touring then? Because I know you've got the kids. Your little boy's been walking all the way around my grass.
Around your garden.
Yeah, I've got trails of legs just into hedges and bits and pieces.
Yeah, he's messing up your perfect lawn.
It looks like something like a badger's been wandering around the garden, but then it's your little boy has been just happily running around there. Yeah. But I presume now you've got a family now.
Yeah.
I suppose that's the priority, really.
That's the focus.
So anything with the touring and stuff like that must be quite difficult for you to go, difficult. Yes, I'm going to go.
Yeah, I need to make the touring legs now much shorter, because I was taking Violet and Shaq on the tour bus, and everything was fine. And it is, when they're tiny, it is fine. They don't care where they are, But now Violet's 2.5. She's not tiny. She is like turning into her own little chick.
Yeah.
So she wants to do certain things and go swimming class and all that. I'm like, oh, I can't put her on a tour bus. So that's that. So
whereas
now,
the other one's just happy roaming around in my garden.
He doesn't care.
It doesn't bother. Not bothered in the slightest.
No, he doesn't care. So he'll come with me, and it's just, I just got to make the touring shorter. It's so difficult, but it's so wonderful at the same time.
Well, I wish you all the very best with it all as well. But here you have it. This is your sort of rum and raisin.
Oh my gosh,
sticky toffee pudding. And then while the spoon's hot, we can take a scoopful of this cream. You just take a scoopful of that. You just serve that.
Oh, even the scoop looks pretty. How you do it?
Even the scoop looks pretty.
Oh,
there you
so
go.
nice.
The difference between that and a dollop is 12 quid. But anyway, there you have it. My rum and raisin sticky toffee pudding. Easy as that. Done.
Delish. Delish.
Right, bon appetit.
Oh, lovely.
Dive into that. There you go. I'm gonna dunk if that's all right. I'm gonna
yes.
take this and dunk it in here. But the great thing about a cake like this and sticky toffee pudding, it freezes really well. So for Christmas, oh, it's good.
The rum. Oh yes.
Rum's
That is
really
lovely.
nice, isn't it?
That's
With
so
the rum and
nice.
raisin, it's good, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
With everything else, it's good, that. So you're going to stick around. We're going to cook for you a little bit more throughout the rest of the show. But also, we didn't talk about the album, which we will talk about a little bit later. We'll talk about that as well. So there's so much to talk about in 10
There
minutes.
is
There we
so
go.
much.
You're going to stick around for the rest of the day. But I'll be treating to Joss and Carol to a pumpkin soup at the end of the show. And I'll be handing over to the hobs to Chef Judy Dew very shortly. But see you after the break. We've got a masterclass in steak that you don't want to miss. I'll see you in a bit. Got to eat this first.
I sort of just want to drink this.
You can. I can just put it in a Welcome back. Now, Chef Judy Dew will be showcasing how to make kimchi pancakes. Never had those, in just a minute. And I'll be treating my guests Joss Stone and Carol Vorderman to a final course of pumpkin soup at the end of the show. But first, it's time for this week's little masterclass. And this week's masterclass is for a viewer called Rebecca and a guy called Will, who's about 10 yards out there in a van, who got in touch with us asking for some help of how to cook a steak. So this is a little steak masterclass. So for this, I'm going to enjoy this one. So, steak, first of all, what to look for. Various different prices, various different cuts. So I've got a selection in front of me over here, but I think the best way to explain this, first of all, is grab one of these. I got this from a little antique shop as well. This tells you where they're all from, and I've got them in front of me over here. So we're talking about, the least expensive first. These would be called, I've got one here in front of me, that one, square one over there, that's called a flat iron steak. These are fantastic cuts of meat, probably the least expensive out of everything. The best tasting, I always think, but you don't overcook it. That's the key to this one. Certainly don't overcook it. So that's where it comes from. This one is called a flat iron. It comes from this area over here. The other ones that are least expensive as well comes from this area over here, which is called, this is called a skirt. You've got the flank steak, bavette. That, some people will buttercut steak as well. I've heard it as well. But this area over here is the other alternatives. This one is the next one. This is called a rump steak, obviously from this area over here. Again, fantastic cut of meat. The key to this, though, is, again, don't overcook it. So if you're looking for a steak well done, really don't choose those two. You'd have to go to one of these that are in front of us over here. So this is the rump steak. I'm going to griddle both of those just to show you what they look like and how to griddle them nice and easily. Over here, starting with this one. This is your cote de boeuf. Your cote de boeuf, your classic. Sometimes you get the bone longer. It's called a tomahawk. This is this beautiful cote de boeuf, usually from the forearm, which is over here. This is where it comes from. This is where you get your entrecôte, your ribeye steak, which is, well, this one over here. This all comes from this area over here. Working your way down, this is your loin, where you've got your sirloin and your fillet attached through a T-bone in the centre there. That's your classic T-bone steak. So it's got a little bit of fillet, a little bit of sirloin. That been the sirloin, and that been the fillet, which is from this area over here. So, and then the fillet itself is split into 3 different steaks. You have your filet mignons at the end, you use for stroganoff, your fillet steaks in the centre, and your chateaubriand at the end of it as the actually fillet goes from thin to thick, like that. But over here, we've got a selection of lovely little steaks. Now, whatever you do, room temperature is the key to this. So bring the steak up to room temperature before you cook it. And we're going to start off with the griddle one first of all. So I'm going to take the rump steak, and I'm going to take the flat iron, because I absolutely love this. Now, what I do is take a little bit of oil. Now, I'm going to griddle these on here. So I'm just using vegetable oil. I'm not using any olive oil or stuff like that. We're just going to take some veg oil and just pop that on there. Now, the seasoning of it, I always season this with just salt, not pepper, because it's going to burn. So we're going to take some normal table salt and make sure you season it really well with table salt. And rather than use sort of sea salt, which is just going to just drop off, so a little bit of that. Now, you can use this kind of salt as well, this is a special mixture that the brilliant Wolfgang Puck that taught me how to do this little trick at the end of it. This is his own steak mix, but it is just delicious. But you can get away and get a little trick doing with something with a little bit of stock cube in a second. So, the griddle itself, you always oil the meat, never the griddle. And the meat just sits on the griddle like that. And you almost just leave it to sit there. Now, people always overcomplicate when they're cooking things and they start to mess around with food. This is the prime example, you just leave it alone. Now, the same when you're cooking the sirloin as well. So we've got sirloin and we've got the ribeye. So this is how I do all these sort of steaks in front of me over here. I want to pan fry these. So nice hot pan on the stove. Oil in the pan as opposed to on the meat. You can put a little bit on there, I suppose, if you wanted to, but mainly on here. Again, season it with salt. Like that. And you can see the table salt, it's just not going to fall off. Like that. And then the steaks go in the pan. Now, the steaks really for this pan is a medium to high heat. That's what you're looking for. So almost regulate the temperature exactly the same. So once you get to this stage now, we can then turn this so that can come up. You can see the bar marks on there and turn it that way. And turn it that way. Now, remember, these are the two steaks really that we don't want to overcook. And I'll show you a little tip of how to get that anyway and test whether it's cooked enough for you as well. But a nice little bit of steaks over here. So just to finish this one off, we have some fresh thyme. A little bit of fresh thyme like that. You can use rosemary and stuff if you wanted to. We have a little bit of garlic. And we have some butter. But the key to this is getting a colour on the steak first. That's enough. And for that, you do need to keep it just sat in the pan, you see. Just leave it. So once we get to that stage and you're happy with the colour, then we can turn that over. We get the same colour on the other side, right? Really, really simple. You're only turning it over once. I think too many times with this, we start to mess around with food too much. This is the prime example where you just want to leave it. So take the steak, turn that over like that, and turn that one over like that. You can see you've got the beautiful little bar marks on it. No need to brush it. You can brush it with bits and pieces if you want. Some people do it with a little bit of yeast extract, which is that amazing thing, over the top like that, which is, again, a sort of little umami sort of flavour. But we've got a beautiful bit of steak like this. So regulate the temperature now, and this is where we can start to add our aromats. A bit of garlic, a bit of thyme, and now we add our butter. So I like my steaks sort of medium rare to rare, really, and I'll show you what it is in a second, but you add the butter and you keep the pan on the heat. This is the key to it. If you go to any decent restaurant and watch the chefs cooking in a kitchen, there's one person, in fact, there's one person in my restaurant, is basically just on the hot pass and just doing this all night, just adding the butter. As it starts to go this nut brown, the temptation is to always mess around with it. You see, I've not just touched it once, turned it over once, that's all. As the butter starts to go nut brown, we can then nappe this, and you see you get this beautiful glaze on the steak. Look at that. Then you take this process, and this is the same as if you're cooking fish with the skin on. Cooking it for a lot less, of course, but you can see you glazing it over like that as the butter starts to go. Now, if it starts to go a little bit too much, take it off the heat. Like that, and keep going like this. This is the key to it. Over the top, over the top, over the top. And you get this amazing flavour from it. Now, you can tell whether you how you want it cooked now. So I'll just check our little steak. So it's not stressful at all, is it, really, when you're doing this? Unless you're in a restaurant, of course. But look, you put your finger and your thumb together. If you press this part of your thumb, and it's that bit there, if you press this top of the meat like that, that's rare. If you go to the next finger, this starts to firm up a bit, as that does. That's medium rare. This one firms up again. Your next finger, medium. This one, knackered. All right? Don't really want that one, particularly with that steak that's on our griddle over here. So that's the way to test whether a piece of meat is. So you'll see a lot of chefs, and they're just doing that and that. And that's how to test whether it's ready. So you can see I've got a beautiful bit of steak like this, which is looking good. And then what I like to do is just pop it on a tray, and I put it on a tray with a bit of paper. You can do it with a little bit of kitchen paper. It's entirely up to you, but you just leave that sat there like that, and it'll sit there nicely. I just get in the habit of just putting the little aromats with it as well, mainly because it just says how much good job have you done, really, over there. This one over here, we can then keep your eye on it. This is good. Like I was saying, in France, really, if you order one of these, the bavette, and it comes with fries, they'll just walk it through the kitchen. It just gets warm, and then it's served on the plate. I mean, it's just, and that's it. Really, you kind of not get it cooked like the English, or bien cuit, as they like to call it, which is ruined. They just sort of ignore it. They just go, because otherwise you'll just send it back from being tough. So you want to take that, leave that to one side there. That's your lovely bit of rump steak. Rump steak is one of those steaks that I remember as a kid, it used to go as a special treat every now and then. It was probably once every 6 months. We used to go to a Burney Inn and have rump steak and a fancy mustard, which was Dijon mustard. You never taught or tasted French mustard before, but that was my first experience of having sort of a steak with fancy mustard. This really is nice and simple. So it's important now to leave it to rest. Now, leaving it to rest, you can do this. You can take a little bit of black pepper, like that, or you can do a little Wolfgang Puck trick. You can take a little bit of stock cube. Now, I've got in here a little bit of this liquor left. And what I would do is take a stock cube in there, take a little bit of the stock cube and put it on the top of the meat. It's only taken a little tiny bit, a little bit in this butter as well. And you take in this and you just put in this over the top. And what the stock cube does is gets this amazing umami sort of flavour. It's just a stock cube like that, and you just want to blend it just with your fingers. Now, you can do this with a little bit of salt, even a little bit of table salt. You can just mix that together with about 5 to 1, 5 parts salt to 1 stock cube. Blend that up and you get a little powder, which you've got something similar to this, but not that, because that's something totally different. But you get this amazing flavour from it. So a little bit of stock cube really does help. And then when you come to serve it, you've got your gorgeous steak. You can then slice it through like that. We can lift that on there. And there you have your, I would class that sort of medium rare steak, which is exactly what I want. This one again, this is a beautiful ribeye. This has got an element of fat through it as well. It's absolutely glorious. But slice it through, and you've got another one on there. See that? Beautiful, medium, look at that. Medium rare. Perfect. And then, we've got this one over here as well. Nice and simple. This is your bavette, rump, or I like to call it. This one really is called a flat iron. With this, you can see the sinews going that way. So it's important when you carve this, you go through the sinews. But this is absolutely delicious, trust me. It really, really is. But it's very important when you do this that you don't overcook it. Otherwise, everybody will be complaining. It will be quite tough. So you've got this beautiful bit. So urge on the side of sort of medium rare is what you want for that, which is what that is. And then you've got a glorious bit of rump steak, which is probably one of my favourite, I think. I think the rump steak is probably one of my favourite because it's got that beautiful bit of marbling with the fat. It's absolutely glorious. So there you have it. Whichever one you decide, however you sort of season it with a little bit of black pepper at the end. But there we have it. Rebecca and Will, don't mess your steak up again. It's done. So if there's anything you'd like to learn about in a Mousecast, do get in touch with me, see if we can help out right here on the show. Time now for a quick break, but join me again in a couple of minutes when Judy Jew will be taking over the hobs to delight us with her kimchi pancakes. Never had those before. But anyway, there's your steak. welcome back. Now, I'm hoping to impress my guests, Carol Vorderman and Josh Stone, with the recipe for pumpkin and lime soup very shortly. But first, I'm here with Ronnie Murray, and we're going to look forward to a dish from a chef whose globe-trotting career has taken it everywhere, from the fat duck to the French Laundry. What a CV it reads as well. To the kitchens of her very own restaurants around the world. It's the fabulous Judy Jew.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show. It's the first time you've been at the house.
Yes, it is.
So, and the first time I've ever tasted kimchi and pancakes together. I'm intrigued. Kimchi I'm familiar with, as you are, I'm assuming, but join the two together. So what are we going to be making then?
We're going to make kimchi pancakes that are pan-fried. Very, very common dish. It's a street food dish, but actually, you know, you can kimchi-fy anything out there.
Kimchi-fy?
Kimchi-fy. You know, you can beautify things.
Right, okay.
You can, it is a thing. It is. Yeah, no, you could put kimchi into most foods and make them better. You just bling it out, you know?
Bling it out?
Bling it out,
So
you know.
blinging it out with a bit of, you want me to do bling it out with a bit of...
Spring onions.
Spring onions first.
Yeah,
Chop those up.
Chop those up nice and thin, and I'm going to ask you also to chop up a red chili for me too. Meanwhile, I'm going to make the batter. So the batter is super easy. I'm going to use some rice flour, some regular flour, and then an egg, just to hold things together.
So you were brought up in New Jersey.
New Jersey, Jersey girl.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
And then your first career was not food at all.
Nope.
You were worked in banking for a period of time.
I did.
Why you end up doing this for a living and restaurants and everything else? How did that happen?
Well, I decided not to follow a paycheck and to follow my passion and downgrade my life in every way possible to work longer hours for less pay, basically. And so, but...
Is that done on a Friday night after a few drinks?
I know, exactly.
What a smart lady.
I know, right? Exactly. And I loved food. I love restaurants, and I just decided, you know what, this is what I want to do in my life. So I quit, and I went to cooking school. And actually, I was a pastry chef also for a number of years. All of us.
What have you got in there? What have you just thrown that in? What is that in there?
This, I want you to smell this. Smell the funk. Bring in the funk, bring in the noise.
Well, that's kimchi juice.
It's kimchi juice. Want a swig? This is the secret to the best Bloody Mary. Kimchi Bloody Mary. See, you kimchi-fy
Well, it certainly wakes you up, that.
It does.
So what have you done in here? You've made the...
I made the bit of a batter.
So which is with what?
With rice flour, regular flour, a little bit of sugar to balance out all of that spice and funk, and some kimchi juice, and I'm gonna add some kimchi as well.
Okay. Did you want red or green chili?
I need some red chilies.
Red chili.
A little bit. Well, you can do both, yeah.
I've braved it. I've had a swig of juice.
Yeah.
That's good kimchi, that.
It's nice. And this is a probiotic. So kimchi is a superfood. So it's good to kimchify everything in your life because it's good for you. So it heals your gut. And as you know, your entire immune system and your entire overall health is located in your gut and your gut immune biome and all that stuff. So if you have a healthy gut, you're going to be healthy. Yeah.
More kimchi for
More
me,
kimchi for you. Kimchi for everyone. Kimchi-fy you, Ronnie.
So you decided to do this as a career.
I did.
But there's a big difference between that and then opening a restaurant empire that you've got now, and then television and stuff like that. What came first? Television bit or?
No, I was working in kitchens, and then everybody kind of knows each other here, and then producers started seeing me cooking, and nobody knew anything about Korean food at all. Like they thought it was the same as Thai food, and I had to teach people how to look at a map. And we don't grow things like coconuts or lime leaves. It's not a tropical country. Like we hosted the Winter Olympics, And
what is that you just thrown in there?
Oh, this is gochugaru. This is everything. So this is soy sauce, and then I've got gochugaru. This is Korean chili flakes. You want to try?
This is amazing stuff.
This is stuff. It's not too hot. It's made with just the skins of the chili, right? So it's got almost a fruity, almost smoky texture, right? Flavor.
That is amazing.
So I can put all in. And it's actually a well-balanced chili and beautiful color.
Do you want to actually fry some of these?
Yes, if you could. Make
it's a little bit smoky as well, right?
A little smoky. It's really, really nice. I love them. It's kind of like good alternative, like chili flake that you can use on lots of different things. Throw it on top of pizzas, etc. Throw it in your squash salad or something.
Nice,
gives it a nice heat and beautiful color.
Can I just check the size is right for you? And
yes, that's good.
Happy with that?
That's nice.
So you then working in restaurants?
Working in restaurants. I was working in magazines also. And then, started doing my own thing. And now I've got Soulbird. So that's our Korean street food concept.
Which is amazing.
It's so
chicken.
fun, right?
Amazing chicken.
And just opened up in Brooklyn in October.
How does that work Because I've got a few restaurants, but they're local, they're UK. But how do you manage that around the globe? Because
so we franchise, and then hopefully exit strategy, sell it. And that's the dream, if I'm honest. You know, so this is where.
So this is where your finance background is helpful.
Yes,
Unlike
it is.
a classic chef background, where we open loads of stuff and then it doesn't really work and you lose a load of money.
Well, I've done that too.
Oh,
So
okay.
I've done that already.
Okay.
So I did that with my first few restaurants. I was like, and then I was like, you know what? I kind of don't want to feel like losing a lot of money anymore. So I'm going to do quick serves.
But then the television side of it, people have seen you, well, both of you recently, of course, in Cooking with the Stars as well, because you're doing stuff not just here, but over
In
the other side of the States as well.
I just came back from filming in LA. So that's gone well. Yeah, long hours, as you know, but quite fun.
Well, I don't know about here. They'll be down the pub in about sort of 10 minutes from this, but anyway, as soon as they're finished.
Definitely. So TV, I've got my new book, which is being reprinted, which is great. So that's quite exciting.
So just to recap what you've got in this dressing again, and tell us about what you... Are these two different things that you've got in here?
Yeah, so this is the same product, just one is coarse and one is fine.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
so it's just about the grind of it, right? So this is the same chili that is in kimchi, right? So you cannot make kimchi without this chili flake.
And then
so
what's
this is called
it called?
Gochugaru.
Gochugaru.
So gochu means chili and garu means flake.
Right, okay.
Or powder. And so this is the key to kimchi, and you can't substitute it. Some people try to make kimchi using
And you say that...
You said this is just the outside, so no...
No seeds.
No seeds, right.
It's just the skin,
Got it.
And then this is really just a nice soy vinaigrette. So you've got soy sauce, you've got roasted sesame oil for that nice nuttiness and that earthy flavor. Of course, there's some brightening. You have to have some acid with the rice vinegar. I put some sesame seeds as well, and a bit of the gochugaru for some spice. And then
you say that there's different recipes for kimchi. Or what is the base of it? I know the base of it. Is it always done with cabbage, or it can be done with...
Oh, good question. So kimchi is an umbrella term for over 200 official varieties of kimchi. But, so you can kimchi anything. Exactly, so kimchi's like a verb. So you can kimchi broccoli, you can kimchi cauliflower, you can kimchi green mangoes, like anything that's gonna stand up to the fermentation.
Kimchi is what is the base of it? Is that thyme? Do you leave it? Is the
fermentation. So it's any fruit or vegetable, and you brine it overnight with salt, and there's never vinegar. It's a true fermentation, so it's not a pickle. Right. So it's all of the, kind of like the sugars come out. So it's a true fermentation. If you're speaking about kimchi, people usually, when they say kimchi, are referring to the cabbage kind, which is what we're using today. So you brine it overnight, just in salt and stuff. And I'm gonna borrow your chopsticks.
Go.
Chopsticks. There you go. And then afterwards, you make a paste, which is made of the Korean chilies, and there's always some kind of seafood in it. So kimchi is not vegetarian, actually. So there's anchovy sauce. There's also usually some kind of like salted shrimp in it, or some oysters, or some.
Is that the umami bit that you do?
Yes,
you need
exactly.
that fish, right?
Yeah, you need that fish for that kind of for that deep flavor. And that's it.
I don't want to use that one.
No,
that was a trial one.
I left that one on the side.
That was a test one.
Exactly.
Test one.
And we can scatter some of your beautiful garnish on top.
There you go.
And then we're going to feed Ronnie over here.
There you go. So give us the name of this dish.
This is kimchi pancakes.
Easy as that.
Easy as
Judy
that.
Jew, everybody.
There we go.
There you go.
Ronnie.
Oh, so you guys actually work together. Did you actually cook for each other on that show or not?
We tasted each other's food cooked by someone else, which is sort of a little bit unfair, really.
Right, taste. Oh, that's dipping sauce.
It's nice. It's a nice soy vinaigrette. But the secret are these chili flakes.
What have you just put in there?
Just here, just normal stuff. You can find.
So rice wine vinegar.
Sesame oil, soy sauce, and the gochugaru, and sesame seeds.
And
and the spring onions.
But this is the key to it, this.
This is the key, but you could see it's because it kind of like, it dissolves into it. Gives it
It's
that
almost
color.
like paprika, and it's the Spanish version of paprika. But you get that infusion from it.
Infusion of it, yeah.
It's not the same taste.
I remember now, this is because you haven't got the seeds, right? So it's different from chili flakes.
Yeah.
Completely
You don't get that.
different.
You get spice, but it's spice with flavor.
But it's not
That's
hot,
the
hot,
difference.
hot.
It's
Yeah.
that
boiling hot.
smoke.
Yeah.
It's all, like you say, it's almost smoked paprika-y.
Really clever.
Deep, deep, deep.
That
Yeah.
is fantastic, I see.
Umami.
Judy Jew, everybody. Brilliant. I'm definitely coming to the chicken shack. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Right, still to come, we've got time for one more final dish. So join us again after the break where we're treating Carol Vorderman, Joss Stone, and all of these two to pumpkin soup that we're serving with a gluten-free flatbread. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back to the last part of the show, sadly. But I'm back in the kitchen with Ronnie Murray, Judy Jew, Joss Stone and Carol Vorderman. Hey. I told you today was going to be a good one. Right, for my final dish, I thought you'd treat to a recipe of pumpkin soup with a nice little bit of flatbread. So we've got pumpkin soup, first of all. We're going to take some veg stock in here. That's going to go in. We're going to fire that up. And then I'm going to add some of this pumpkin. So we've just diced up the pumpkin. That's going to go in there. And it's cut it finely diced, and it's all going to cook in no more than about sort of 8 minutes. We're going to take time for me to cook the flatbread as well. So the flatbread, which we have in here, we've got flour, we've got yoghurt, we've got a bit of water, and all you do is you just mix all this lot together. Now, if you can get you to do plenty of this deep-fried sage, please, Ronnie.
Yes, chef.
So the sage, you don't wash it, you just deep-fry it as it is. And when you deep-fry it, 160 degrees, it creates this amazing crispy fried sage to go with pasta and bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Absolutely delicious. But a nice good pinch of salt going in here as well. And we mix that together with water. We need it with this, really. Good pinch of salt and mix this all together. This is going to be the flatbread. Now, when we spoke earlier, we missed out several subjects between all of our guests, really. Because we're too busy chatting away about loads of different pieces. So we didn't get the fact. First of all, Joss, your album.
Oh, yes.
We never got that.
No, no.
The important bit.
I sort of forgot because Time Traveller's Wife is like so amazing. So I have been asked many, many times by the fans online to make a live album for years, and I have not been brave enough to do it.
Right.
But as this is 20 years, I was like, let's do it.
20 years?
I know, can you believe
Child.
that? 20 years! I know, it's crazy.
Can you imagine being signed at 14 years old, whisked off to America and doing this album? You don't feel sorry for it.
I know. Wow. It's been a minute. So I thought, let's make a live album. So basically, we recorded the last part of the tour. We recorded all of it, but the best bit was the American bit, because the musicians were like, oh, they were so good. It was, like, gorgeous. So I just hope that my vocals are all right. You
So
know?
is this covers? Is this
I
originals?
hope people like it. I'm stressing out. Oh, God.
What, is this covers? Is this originals? What is this?
So I did the concert to cover a little snapshot of the whole 20 years.
Right.
So I started with some tracks from the first album, and then I just go sort of through and explain, like, this album was this and that was that, and then I do a bit from my world tour, which was a crazy time.
That was
So
2014, wasn't it?
that went on for 6 years.
I know, because you... Well, it was your...
I had 6 years.
Can I just
I had to do every
I've not cooked in a
country.
restaurant for 6
You're
years, have you?
travelling on a bike or something. 6 years.
This was your idea, because you wanted to appear in every single country in the world.
Everyone, so it took a while. I went to Yemen and Libya and all these places. Yeah, so, you know,
It's like
took a
Elton
minute.
John's, is it that he's going that tour, retirement tour?
Yeah, it was
It's
like
been a long
that.
retirement tour.
I should have retired after that. I don't know what I'm still doing here, to be honest.
So
it
people
spans
can...
over all of it.
So the idea is people can...
They can get the record and just enjoy the live album in their ears, in their little headphones. I guess they don't have to come to the gig if they, you know. So I'm going to pick like the best of the bunch. So it won't all be from one show.
Okay.
It'll be like this one's from, I don't know, wherever we were.
So it's stuff that you've already
Nashville.
pre-recorded that you're putting it all together, is that...
I'm going to put it together, yeah.
That's the whole idea.
That's my job when I get home. I've got to go and listen to all my live shows. Oh, I've never done that.
Yeah.
I normally do it and then forget about
and then
it.
that's done, right?
Well, 30 years of television, I've never watched myself. 40...
hard, isn't it?
41 years.
41 years on television, is it?
Well done.
What happened there, though?
41 years in
What
TV.
41 years.
And we forgot about stuff that I wanted to talk to you about as well, because
Yeah,
we
fine.
mentioned the fact that you wanted to be a fighter pilot when
Yes.
you were a young kid.
Oh, yes.
Ended up at
And I
Cambridge.
would have been brilliant.
Those people are just waking up.
Of course.
Carol,
It's not too late.
Ended up Cambridge, studying engineering.
Yeah.
Wanted to be a pilot. You eventually decided that I'm going to do this, and then you're doing some amazing stuff at the moment. So the cadets as well.
Yeah, with the RAF Air Cadets.
So with your flying, have you still got this? You've still got the plane?
So he's a flyer as well. You see this one.
He flies planes. This one.
We'll just like geek out now.
Oh my goodness.
So I got my instrument rating. Instrument rating is just one below sort of commercial pilot, and then I bought a twin engine. I always go like that when I go twin engine.
Hang on a minute. You've been flying planes.
Let me do that away from camera 3.
I did not know this about you.
It means something else to that cameraman over there.
I'm keeping quiet.
The plane's so good. I can't help it.
Right, moving on.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a day.
What do you do with these twin engines?
The twin engine. So it's twin engine because I wanted to fly around the world solo. That was my thing.
I was hoping it was going to be quicker than 6 years, but it's
could have
ended up
taken
not.
me.
No, it takes
No,
longer.
you're not solo then, if I take you.
Good point.
And trust me, the length of time it's taken longer than 6 years. You've still not done it.
On your own.
No, I haven't done it. No, I mean, it's a sad story. I was going to do it in 2017, and my mum was diagnosed with terminal cancer a few weeks before I was due to take off, so that was that. But, and then COVID happened, and then... So I still have the plane, but I haven't flown her since pre-COVID. I rent her out, so... but she's still there.
Are you up for it? Are you feeling like you want to do it?
Yeah, well, I had to, because I was going to go around the world, put her on an American registration, which begins with the letter N. But because of Brexit and all sorts of different things, and change of rules and blah, blah, I put her on the British registration. You don't know this.
Which is AG.
Which belongs... it starts with G, dash, right, golf, dash. And then you have 4 letters. What have I chosen? G, geek. So she's G geek now, yeah, good.
Is the idea that you're going to do this trip? Is that?
Well, I don't know. The world has changed since then, but at some point I will get
You've
back
got to
in.
do it, sure.
But I need to have about a month just doing that to get back up to currency.
Judy sat here listening, going, what?
I love it.
You're travelling. You need a pilot the amount of restaurants you've got on
Yeah, seriously, you can fly me around.
No, I think there are better people than me to fly you. But it's... Yeah, it's just it. You know when you just get... I said, you know when you get passionate, Mother?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. About something.
Yeah.
Then it's in you. Yeah, it's like in you. And I tell you what I really love is going to air shows. Have you ever been to an air show?
What, like the
When I was
Yeah. Have you been?
Yeah.
Judy?
It's amazing.
It's incredible, isn't it? And you can... What I love about it is it's so noisy, like that blender. Is that you can scream as loud as you want and nobody can hear you. You can get really, really, really excited.
Well, you're doing some amazing stuff. Not only you got working with the Air Cadets as well, but the Pride in Britain Awards. I mean, that it's just a spectacular thing to be involved in.
Well, the Pride of Britain we began. It's an award ceremony, Judy, where the incredible people who have done extraordinary things get awards. And the audience is full of celebrities, but none of them get the awards. Have you been, Joss? Have you been to it? And we started in 1999. And it was very different then. And at that time, I was doing a lot of primetime shows for ITV. So I took it to my big boss and said, this little part of it would be amazing. And so it went on air in the year 2000, and we're still going once a year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. It is extraordinary.
It's a lovely thing to do.
It is lovely, isn't it?
I always think, oh, well.
Yeah, it's a great privilege to be.
It is amazing.
To be
Right,
honest,
look, we've got the soup. So good pinch of salt, like you saw.
Could do with it.
Well, I am allowed to use a machine.
Honestly, it takes me like an hour to make a soup at home.
Oh, no, soup's quick.
Soup's quick. Soup's no more than... You'd never cook soup more than 10 minutes?
Tops. Quick lunch.
10 minutes.
Soup, fish, salad.
Yeah.
But the trouble is with soup, people just think it's just any veg, you just throw it all in. Remember, if you overcook broccoli in a pan, it doesn't taste very nice.
Yeah, you kind of kill it.
So why would you boil it and put it in a soup and overcook it and then blend it? It's still going to taste very nice.
Good point.
So you just...
I've got a little soup maker. I just press the button. Put
And you
everything
leave it
in.
for 3 hours.
You've been in America too long.
And
A
it's
soup
just gonna
maker.
beep, beep, ready. It whizzes it up, heats up everything.
But Right, so you've got the book, so you've got a little one. While I'm finishing off this soup, you can just, because you
Okay, we'll do
you put me
boys
under
versus
stress earlier.
girls. We'll do boys versus girls.
God.
Yeah.
We're in
let's
trouble.
do it.
You're on-
Let's
we were
do
in
it.
trouble.
You're on your own here.
Don't
Okay.
hang me out.
Don't, we'll be cancelled for this.
No, this is an easy one. According to the nursery rhyme, who took a lamb to school?
You know this.
That was Little Bo Peep, right?
No, she'd lost a sheep.
She lost it. I knew it was something to do with sheep.
Someone had a little lamb.
Mary.
Mary. Oh,
eventually.
get in there. OK, last one. Which two letters can you change in the word slimy, five-letter word, S-L-I-M-Y, bit countdown here, to get something that's brightly polished? Slimy, change two letters.
Change L for H.
Shiny.
And then...
Shiny!
Pull one back for the lads.
No.
Thanks, Will. Thanks, Will. Thanks, Will. Thanks, Will. In fact, it was 3 against 2. It's actually 3 against 22, to be honest.
I haven't got one. It wasn't me.
Next time, Will, can you just be a little bit quicker? That was a bit hanging me on. He's not very good at typing on Google, eh, fella? But anyway, there you have it. There you have it.
Look at that, stunning.
My little simple soup, my sage and pumpkin soup, cooked in about 10 minutes. We mentioned the album, we mentioned the restaurants, we mentioned the book. I think we're
Well done.
All done.
Good job.
Easy as that. Bon appetit.
Oh, amazing.
Judy.
Thank you.
Joss.
Thank you, my
There
lovely.
you have it.
We'll have the pan chef.
That.
A bit of that.
Do you know, I love the sage. That's like one of my favourite things in the world to eat. Ooh, okay.
Very nice.
That is
Excellent.
absolutely gorgeous.
So
Not bad for a soup.
Not bad for a soup.
That is
I think it's the lime. I think with soup, I don't want to agree, but I think it's
Oh,
salt.
isn't it
Yeah.
lovely?
It's seasoning
But the
side.
bit of lime
That's
as well.
perfect, I have to say.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Particularly the deep-fried sage.
Yeah, the deep fried sage is a revelation. This is what happens. You drop the oil about 160 degrees, and it goes almost translucent.
Good though, isn't it?
I do it in butter and it always gets burnt really
You
quick.
just do it in a machine that just press soup, and it just suddenly happens. There you go. We know what you do.
And it burns to a little crisp.
But there you go. That's it. That's all we've got time for today. They could chat for all morning, these. We're not going to be able to get rid of them, to be honest with you. We're in trouble this afternoon. We're in big trouble. A massive thank you to all my guests. Ashley Mullinder, Judy Dew, Ronnie Murray, and, of course, Joss Stone and Carol Vorderman. Best of luck with the restaurants, the album, best of luck with the book, as well as everything else. And we'll see you back here same time next Saturday morning, where we're joined by Chef Levi Roots, Sally Abbey, barman Merlin Griffiths will be here, and I'll be serving up a rock and roll cocktail for Mr. Allard Jones. I'll see you then. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Levi Roots.
Levi Roots.